Good afternoon, councillors, officers and members of the public who are live streaming the meeting. My name is Councillor Matt Arturi and I'm the Deputy Mayor of the City of Darebin and the Chairperson of this special council meeting. I declare the meeting open at 4:03 p.m. The meeting is being live streamed and a recording will be made available on the council website as soon as possible after the meeting. This meeting is the continuation of the meeting adjourned on 22 December 2025 and was scheduled by 3 councillors as a special meeting pursuant to Rule 1.1.2 of the Governance Rules, with a notice of the meeting published on Council's website on Friday 19 December 2025. I note that pursuant to Section 15.1.1 of the Governance Rules, public questions and submissions can only be made at an ordinary council meeting. Pursuant to Section 1.1.3 subsection 6 of the Governance Rules, unless all councillors are present and unanimously agree to deal with another matter, only the business specified in the notice calling this meeting is to be transacted. Any discussions relating to confidential information under Section 3.1 of the Local Government Act 2020 will require council to move into camera pursuant to Section 66(2). I would like to begin by acknowledging the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people, the traditional owners of this land, and I recognise their continuing connection to land, water and culture, and pay my respects to elders past and present, and extend that respect to all First Nations people here today. I would like to welcome and acknowledge all councillors, our executive leadership team and officers joining us this afternoon. Apologies. The Mayor Councillor Emily Demetriadis is an apology. Councillors, as we have an even number of councillors in attendance this afternoon, that may require me as Chair to use a casting vote. I advise that my casting vote will be the same as my deliberative vote in that circumstance. Disclosures of conflicts of interest. If any councillor or staff member has a conflict of interest in relation to any matter on the agenda, they must disclose the conflict of interest and the nature of that conflict of interest. Any conflicts of interest must also be declared immediately prior to the item being considered. Councillors and officers, are there any conflicts of interest to declare? There being none, if during the course of the meeting any motion or amendment is put that gives rise to a conflict of interest, I request that the council or the staff member advise me at the time. Item 3, Council's occupational health and safety responsibilities. I'd like to remind everyone that Council has an occupational health and safety responsibility to ensure anyone attending today's meeting feels both safe physically and emotionally. Councillors, I kindly ask you to be respectful of one another and to maintain a civil tone when addressing the meeting. If anyone does engage in conduct that is improper or disorderly, including words that are racist, sexist or homophobic, the chairperson can direct that person to cease their conduct and the person must comply with that direction. Moving on to item 5, consideration of reports. Today the item we have to consider is entitled Darebin Commitment to Peace. Councillors, at our December 2022 meeting, the meeting was adjourned with a motion on the table. The motion was moved by me and it was yet to be seconded. Given the time that has passed and the different circumstances surrounding this matter, I would like to withdraw this motion. Just to recap, councillors, we've had an opportunity to ask questions on this report at the meeting of 22 December. Since then, councillors have had further opportunities to ask questions in relation to the recent consultation on the flag policy, as well as the matter more broadly. In light of this, I will allow questions in relation to this report, but only on matters that councillors have not yet had an opportunity to ask or receive a response to. In light of that, councillors, are there any questions on this report? There being none, councillors, I'll call for a motion. Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would like to put forward a motion that was shared recently and tweaked slightly today on the back of further feedback.
Is that the motion on the screen, councillor?
Yes, that's the motion. Thank you.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Jolly. Councillor O'Brien, you have 3 minutes to speak to the motion starting now.
Thank you. This issue, as we know, has generated genuine concern from many different perspectives, and it is one of the most complex matters we have faced this term. Unfortunately, we have also heard from some that seek to sow further division by disingenuously suggesting that support for the rights of Palestinians and the fight against anti-Semitism are in opposition to one another. I want to state clearly that I reject that framing. I will always stand against genocide, and I will always stand against hate. For those watching today, I want to explain how we've arrived here and why I'm proposing this motion. The motion asks us to allow time to consider consultation feedback from communities and means we will resolve how we approach flags at Darebin with that feedback in mind. When an issue is causing significant division or harm in our community, we have a responsibility to navigate a way forward that reflects our obligations, our values, and the well-being of our community, and to do so carefully and respectfully. For those listening, it's useful to note that a flag policy that determines the procedure for flying any flag, including international ones, has been under development at Darebin since before this term of council. Many councils have such flag policies, and they're usually developed at an organisational level by CEO and officers. What makes our situation different is that this policy intersects with a previous council resolution, and changes to resolutions must be decided by us here in the chamber. The policy was placed on the December agenda to progress work that had been delayed. And once that agenda was published, we listened to feedback that further consultation was required, removed the item to allow that to occur. 2 days later, the terrorist attack at Bondi occurred. In the days that followed, tensions escalated significantly. Council staff told us they experienced hostility and abuse. That context led to the special meeting on the 22nd of December. Councillors held and heard various views on this, and the meeting was adjourned to allow for better decision-making. Since then, a consultation process has been delivered, and there's now a significant amount of feedback to analyse from a broad range of views. Some have asked why the flag policy is not before us today. As it's been explained, this is the continuation of a previous meeting, and we're working within the procedures related to that. Which brings me then to the specific motion that I am proposing. And I want us to see us consider the feedback properly. It gives us the clarity for our communities that they deserve, that a decision will be reached no later than the end of March. I believe this motion balances our responsibilities, staff and community safety, sound governance, and genuinely listening to the community.
15 seconds.
It is about completing a process responsibly and transparently. Many in our community, including some of our Jewish residents, see the Palestinian flag as a simple but powerful symbol that recognises the ongoing suffering of Palestinians, not as a symbol of harm.
Thank you, Councillor.
But we know that view is not shared by everybody. So our role now is to act with care and integrity and to move forward clearly and compassionately as we make this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Jolly is the seconder. Do you wish to speak?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
You have 2 minutes. Thanks, Councillor.
Thank you. Councillors, since adjourning this meeting, I've reflected on my role in calling for the special meeting itself and how this was perceived by our community. In our initial response to being notified of the increased aggression and harassment that was directed at Darebin Council staff and also to us as councillors after the atrocity at Bondi on the 14th of December, Council's response was too reactive. It should be clear to all of us here that it's deeply damaging to conflate support for Palestine with hate-filled ideology, and that led to the hate-filled ideology that led to the mass murder of Jewish people at Bondi. And for that reason, and our belief that today is not the time to lower the Palestinian flag. Our community is undeniably divided on this. Some residents have told me they feel a sense of fear when they see the Palestinian flag, while others tell me they see it as a symbol of hope for Gaza. While community engagement is one part of this process, we should also consider how we demonstrate our values against genocide, against suffering and against hate in all of its forms. And as I've said to you all in our recent discussions, we need to consider how we bring the community on the journey with us when the time comes to adopt the flag policy. I want to thank the residents who have engaged thoughtfully and respectfully with me in the past year on this issue, and for those who have called me a coward for adjourning this meeting, I'm sorry that I disappointed you in that moment, but I am not sorry that I used the time in between to work with my councillor colleagues towards resolution in the interests of the whole community. That includes progressing the consultation that started in mid-January. The way forward is for us to strive every day to be the leaders and stand up for our values, especially when the going is tough. That takes courage and commitment. I acknowledge the Mayor in her absence today for heeding my call for us to come together to find a way forward. And I thank you, councillors, for making the time to engage in those discussions and for being here today. But I am disappointed that the Mayor is not here with us. Hatred cannot be allowed to prosper. Genocide must not become an accepted part of our news cycle. Anti-Semitism must also not be rooted out. It must be rooted out wherever it is found. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Are there any speakers against the motion? Are there? Councillor Boglis.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor. I want to first acknowledge the immense suffering of Palestinian civilians and the deep fear and trauma experienced by our Jewish communities. Both truths can exist together. My vote today is not about choosing between Palestine or Israel. It's not about denying suffering, grief, or humanity on either side. And it is not about anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, both of which I reject absolutely. This decision is about the role of local government, community safety and social cohesion here in Darebin. We are a diverse and passionate community. Many residents, particularly within the Jewish, Palestinian and Muslim communities, are experiencing fear and trauma, and not all people represent the views or actions of their governments. I chose to adjourn this matter last year because we had not consulted with our communities, of which we did not ask for, agree to, or understand what a peace flag represented. Council received over 500 submissions through a formal consultation process, and the majority asked for the flag to be removed. Our role is to listen, our role is to respond to this feedback and not further inflate conflicts into our neighbourhoods, workplaces and public spaces. Those concerned about international conflicts should direct their views to the federal member of Cooper, whose role it is to respond to these matters. The flag has been up for almost 2 years, since December 18th, 2023, yet we continue to delay this. We are a small local council, elected to focus on rubbish, rates and roundabouts, and the well-being of our neighbours, not to act as the United Nations. Across Australia, flags are often only raised for a single day. Although I may stand alone today, I remain committed to my elected role here in Darebin and the social contract I signed with my neighbours when elected. I thank you, my fellow councillors and residents, for all your input in this important matter, and I commend this to the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Boglis. Councillor Alaris.
I'd just like to make a small amendment to the motion on the floor.
Yep. Do we have
circulated it earlier, so
on
it
the
should
screen
be available? Yep. So it's really just point number 5 that is changed.
Yep. I'll go to the mover. Is the amendment accepted, or do you want the actual amended parts to be made a bit clearer for you, Councillor O'Brien, given that it's all in red?
I think we've seen and discussed this very briefly later in the day today as it's circulated, so
yep.
I don't accept the amendment. I think point 5 in mine is clearer. Thank you.
That's fine. Councillor Jolly's, I'll ask you as a formality, do you accept the amendment?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No, I don't accept the amendment.
Okay. I'll ask for a seconder for the amendment. In that case, Councillor Salkos seconds the amendment. Councillor Alaris, you have 2 minutes to speak to that amendment.
Sure. Thank you. So they are minor changes, and to be clear, I guess point 5 aims to be clear that we're not trying to kick this decision ahead into the future. So we've just got the words there as soon as possible added, still before the end of March, but just to indicate that we are keen to work on this as soon as possible. There may be a good reason that that ends up towards the end of March, but just to put that in there so the community understands that point. The second change, I guess, is just about the wording here. We have tried to describe a clear and transparent process for the community and for the staff who have to implement it. So again, a subtle change, but it aims to clarify that the next step is the debate and adoption of a flag policy, and that in doing so, the flying or not of the Palestine flag will be dependent on that policy. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Salkos, as a second, do you wish to speak to the...
I'll reserve my right.
Are there any speakers against the amendment? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My main issue with the wording of this point 5 here is the phrase "be subject to." It seems to me to be predetermining what that decision is going to be and the mechanism that we're going to introduce when the flag policy comes to us. And I also don't feel it's all about semantics. So it's quite minor, but I don't believe we need to say as soon as possible, however, no later than the end of March, when the wording of the current motion under consideration very clearly states the timing being no later than the end of March.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other speakers to the amendment? For or against, Councillor, but to the amendment.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, Acting Mayor, I speak against the amendment because I think it actually undermines the whole consultation process. Point number 5, if we are to consider the flag, the Palestinian flag, it has to be considered separate, I think, and not subject to the adoption of the flag policy per se. So I just think it's clearer to have to have it separate. Rather, this actually prejudges what the consideration of the Palestinian flag issue is if it's to be subject to the flag policy. I think it's very confusing, and the Palestinian flag came before the flag policy.
Before I call the seconder, are there any other speakers to the... Councillor O'Brien?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm just...
To the amendment. To the amendment.
Yes, the amendment, yes. So sorry, just trying to reflect on the wording prior. So I guess on the matter of timing, I feel the original motion is perfectly clear, no later than the end of March. It's replicated here, but it's adding words that are just less clear to me. I am concerned, probably not in exactly the same way that Councillor Villela has just explained. I do understand the flag policy has an international flag section. I think we're all well aware of that. But it's more about just being genuinely open. We have to be open in considering this feedback that we've just recently gotten. We've seen an early version of it. We have more information to receive. And I just feel this maybe preempts, the wording is making us preempt, and I don't want to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other speakers? Or I'll go to the amendment. No? Councillor Salkos as the seconder, you reserved your right.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I just want to be clear that the change in the wording is to the adoption of a flag policy. It's not specifically referring to the one that was out for consultation, which could be amended. And I also want to just mention that this is very consistent with all our other policy and frameworks at Darebin. So I think for good governance, it should stay within the realm of a flag policy.
Thank you, councillors. I'll now put the amendment to the vote. So those supporting Councillor Alaris's amendment should vote yes, just to make it absolutely clear. So those in favour of the amendment, please raise your hand. Councillor Alaris, Councillor Salkos, Councillor Arturi. Those against, please raise your hand. Councillor Boglis, Jelly, O'Brien, Sangster, Villela. It's quicker if I say it like that. Thank you, councillors. The amendment is defeated, so we'll move back to the substantive motion. Can we get that back on the screen? And I'll call you in just a moment, Councillor Sangster. Right. Are there any speakers? I'll go to Councillor Sangster first. Thanks.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. I'm speaking in support of this recommendation. I just wanted to make the point It was raised earlier by Councillor Boglis that there's not a conflation, but I think there's a possible conflation of lowering the Palestinian flag and raising the peace flag, which I know we've moved on from, but that there's a danger of connecting these thoughts, and we reject that outright. It is absolutely clear, as we've all noted, that our community asked to be consulted, and they have been. Our officers will now collate and analyse the feedback as they would for any consultation and present that information to us, so that's fantastic. It's also clear that Darebin Council needs a consistent framework to guide decisions and on what flags are flown, and I look forward to that policy informed by community consultation to come to us soon. Through this consultation, we have heard from people who see the Palestinian flag as an expression of solidarity with the Palestinian people, the mothers and fathers and children who have been experiencing genocide and who continue to endure immense suffering, displacement and loss of life. Some have asked whether our commitment to these people have changed. I want to say unequivocally that it is not. It is freezing in Gaza right now. It is flooding and people are very hungry. We remain staunch in our opposition to genocide, to the dehumanisation of people and to the destruction of homes. We've also heard from members of our community who have told us that the presence of the flag has made them feel unsafe or isolated. While I do not believe that the flag itself represents anti-Semitism, I recognise that symbols can be experienced differently and impact matters even when harm is not intended. This is why we consulted. We wanted to listen to everyone. Our responsibility is to prioritise the safety and well-being of everyone who works and gathers here and to consider the Darebin community as a whole. And my hope is that at this time of strain on democratic values, we in Darebin can move forward with moral clarity, with good governance and with real kindness. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other speakers to the motion? Councillor Blower. Yep.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, through you. And I just want to say a big thank you to Councillor O'Brien for putting forward this motion. I think it is, to me, it corrects a very severe wrong that Darebin Council has inflicted on the Darebin community in the last two special council meetings that we had, in the manner in which this very sensitive and complex issue has been handled has been, in my opinion, an abomination. We haven't done the sensitive issue any justice. The last special meeting that we had, the community was locked out of an important democratic principle, which is to participate and to voice their concerns. We locked out the people of Darebin by having a special meeting, and that is not what we as a democracy should be doing. I was embarrassed, so therefore I am very, very supportive of this motion, that the issue of the Palestinian flag, whichever way it goes, I support, and the residents and the members who I represent support the continual flying of the flag. But it's still to come to a decision after the consultation. But I'm glad that if this motion gets up, it will come to a council meeting where the public can come and have their say and listen to what we have to say. As far as I know, we don't live in a totalitarian state. I'm proud that we fly the Palestinian flag because the federal government has let us down, the state government has let us down, and when the two tiers of government let us down for justice, it's up to local government, and we've done the right thing. And I'm proud of it because we stand against genocide as any reasonable human being should. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers to the motion? Councillor Alaris.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I stand in support of the motion. I understand that will be disappointing to many people who might be watching today, who were hoping that a decision on the flying of the Palestinian flag would be made, and I'm genuinely sorry for that. I am deeply concerned about the growing disharmony in our community and the impact that this is having on our community and on our staff. However, I believe it's important that this decision is not made in a policy vacuum. The decision in December 23 to fly the Palestinian flag indefinitely was possible because there was no policy in place. It was also made without community consultation. Without a policy, it's not feasible. Without a policy, it is feasible that the indefinite flying of this flag be revisited at a future council meeting. Making a decision based on clear policy is important for good governance. Our governance rules do not allow us to adopt the flag policy at this meeting today, only to consider the report before us. So it's crucial that we consider this issue with a proper understanding of community feedback. While the initial consultation summary suggests a small minority supporting the flag's removal, it's not yet clear how many of the responses come from Darebin residents or were part of organised submissions. So a fuller briefing is absolutely needed. I have never shied away from my unwavering support over many years for the plight of the Palestinian people. I am unequivocally opposed to all forms of violence, discrimination and racism, including Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, without exception. I've been horrified by the recent incident at Bondi and also by attempts by some to blame the Muslim community more generally. I also strongly reject the idea of the flying of the Palestinian flag as a cause of anti-Semitism. But the decision before us is not about our individual beliefs. It's about those of the community we serve. So for these reasons, I believe that this motion represents the best way forward. Finally, as a community councillor, okay, no worries, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Loris. I was just about to interrupt you. Councillor Salkos.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and councillors. Darebin has a long, proud history of standing up for peace, social justice and inclusion. We see that how we work with community groups, faith leaders and residents from every background, all striving for social cohesion and mutual respect. In recent months, our community has been shaken. Many people are hurting, feeling anxious or unheard, and that's something we must acknowledge. But let me be clear, we reject anti-Semitism, Islamophobia and racism in all its forms. We condemn violence and remain committed to the safety, dignity and well-being of every Darebin resident. Hate will not divide us. For the past 2 years, Council has flown the Palestinian flag as a gesture of solidarity with the people of Palestine and to members of our community directly affected by that conflict. We know that this has been deeply meaningful for some and deeply challenging for others. The motion before us today responds to the reality in a calm and responsible way. It recognises that we have a duty to staff and our community. It acknowledges the community consultation conducted in January on the flag policy that will soon be with us, and community can have certainty about how those matters are dealt with in the future. That's important. It means our next steps will be guided and informed by community voices, not driven by heightened emotion or division.
10 seconds, Councillor.
It's an interim step, but it's a constructive one. It creates space for a clear, consistent policy framework that reflects Darebin's values while reducing confusion. At a time when people are looking for leaders to create calm, show care and bring communities together, this motion is a measured and principled approach. It keeps Council focused on peace, respect and well-being.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor O'Brien, as the mover, you do have a right of reply if you wish to exercise that. If not, it's up to you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I will just pick up on a couple of points. So I think most people have acknowledged that we are in the middle of a process. The timing, although it's long in some people's minds, I understand that we are close to resolving this. We do want strong governance. We do want to move forward clearly and well. What that looks like, though, means very different things for different people in this community. And holding all of those truths in one go and trying to make a decision is a very difficult decision, but I know that we're all here trying to do that as openly and respectfully as possible. And so I thank people for that. But I'll just, I guess, reiterate what I said as part of my original speech. We know that this is a live issue in our community. We know that not everybody is impassioned by it, but lots of people are. And so for the people that contact us saying, why are we wasting our time with this? We're not wasting our time. We're trying to use it constructively and bring the community along with us. We are not just about roads, I can't even say it, rates, roads and rubbish. There is so much more to being part of a community, and especially a community like Darebin with a huge heart and open arms for communities from all around the world. And that's why we want to live here. That's why people want to live here with us. So yes, let's see this process through and let's honour the feedback that we've received, consider it deeply and come to the next point of consideration and decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. There being no further debate, I will now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Councillors Jolly, O'Brien, Alaris, Sangster, Selkos, Villala, Arturi. Those against? Councillor Boglis, I declare the motion carried. Urgent business, I have no request for a motion to consider urgent business. We'll now move on to the next item. Consideration of reports considered confidential. Councillors, there are no confidential reports to be considered. As there is no other business to consider this afternoon, I would like to declare the special meeting closed at 4:35 p.m. Thank you, councillors, officers and community members viewing the live stream. I now request for the live streaming to end.